Welcome to the Graybeard Chronicles podcast. Your hosts, Brian Halstead and Kevin Harkins, are two gray-bearded patriots who love God, their family and friends, and their country. The Graybeards are here to inspire, inform, and educate you on a myriad of topics they are passionate about. Brian and Kevin have a strong desire to share this with you to help you live your best life. Sit back and enjoy this amazing podcast as the Graybeards pass along the wisdom of the ages.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. I'm Brian Halstead.
And I'm Kevin Harkins.
And Kevin, we're here to pass along some wisdom of the ages. What the heck does that mean?
We're not perfect, but we do have gray beards. And that means we've got some significant life experience, some life lessons, and some perspectives that are worthy of passing along.
Well, I think that sums it up nicely. Let's get to it. Kevin, good evening, sir. How are you?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you tonight?
Man, I can hardly control the excitement that I've got going on here about what we're going to do on this podcast tonight and who we've got here as a special guest.
I am with you. I am with you on that. And it was fun to have just a couple minutes to talk to our guest and kind of get warmed up. And that was a good start. So I'm ready to jump in if you are.
Yeah. You know, folks that have been listening and now watching us on YouTube, you know, this is the YouTube thing is somewhat new to us. And the gentleman that's going to be joining us as a guest tonight, folks that are listening on the audio version, you can't see him yet, but folks that are watching might actually see him depending upon when we cut this and where it actually starts. But just a little background, man. I've been watching videos on YouTube for years, and I started growing a beard several years ago, and was looking for information about, taking care of a beard and so on and so forth. And I came across this guy on YouTube that just had a wealth of knowledge about beard care, and he had a freaking glorious beard himself.
Right.
And man, just enjoyed the videos and enjoyed just the way about him and the way he shared information with people. And so I've been, watching his videos off and on ever since then. And, beard care is about that much of what this gentleman talks about. And he has got some incredible information that he shares with his folks that watch him on YouTube. And he's changing people's lives every day. And I'm very excited to be able to share him with the folks that are listening to our podcast and watching these videos. So
yeah, I just wanted to add to that it's interesting the journeys that life takes you on. You start out making beard videos, and the next thing you know, you are having a tremendous impact on the world in all kind of ways that you never imagined. And I just love that life does that to you. So that's part of what this story is all about.
Yeah. So folks that know him from YouTube or whatever platform you may have found him on, he needs no introduction. But this fine gentleman we've got with us tonight goes by one of the names, his given name, George Bruno. And welcome, George, man. Love having you here, and I appreciate you taking time.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good to be here.
Yeah. So I, like I said, I started out watching your videos about beard care, and actually set up an appointment to go up to what was the King of Prussia Mall you were working at then. Yep. And had you give me a tune up right before my oldest daughter's wedding. And that was, it'll be 5 years ago in October. And then we started doing this podcast almost 2 years ago. And you've been on my radar as somebody that we would love to have as a guest. And so I've been watching more and more videos, and I was even more intrigued about what you're doing now and how the subjects have changed and so on. I just think you've got some incredible information to share with our listeners, and look forward to hearing some of that tonight.
Yeah, great.
So here's a question I want to ask right out of the blocks. And that is, the journey that you started on, again, back to, it was just about the beard, I think. And if that's not right, please correct us. But what was going through your head?
Men's grooming channel.
The men's grooming channel. Okay, perfect. So it's the men's grooming channel. And then as things started to evolve and you started getting these ideas to start presenting on different topics in a very authentic and easy to consume way, at what point did you sort of switch? Or maybe it was just a gradual change, and now you're up to all kinds of other things. I mean, can you explain that and what your mindset was? And then all of this is cast in the spirit of passing on wisdom of the ages, so the listeners can get out of this what they can to make their lives better.
Yeah. It started out as a men's grooming channel. And as I was talking about hair and beards, and basically, I have a profession and a trade. I'm a psychotherapist by profession, trained, educated, credentialed, and I also have a trade in that I cut hair. And the traditional barber stylist is a guy that takes care of men, from about the shoulders up. And so that has been a wonderful thing. My family, it's my family trade. My mom cuts hair, my dad cuts hair.
Right.
And so it's kind of it's just natural for me. I don't remember a time when I couldn't use a razor or a scissors. I just been doing it forever. And I made it official when I got my hair cutting license, and I'm licensed to cut hair in Pennsylvania and Florida. But as I was doing videos, people would ask me questions all the time about grooming. And it got to the point where different people are asking the same question. And I was just answering the same question all the time. And I thought, you know what? I'm just going to start doing videos for my clientele. That is it. And I probably there's over 150 beard and mustache tutorials. People will say to me, why don't you do beard videos anymore? And I say, what's the matter? Isn't 150 videos about beards enough for you?
If you haven't figured it out by now, you're probably not going to.
Yeah, exactly. It's kind of like Beard University. It's probably, probably the most exhaustive channel about men's grooming. And I talk about everything from skincare to growing a beard, a mustache, the proper haircut for your shaped head. Should you shave your head? Should you buzz your head? Just every possible combination about men's grooming. So they would go into categories, and I would, rather than just answering the same question over and over again, I would direct men, send them a link or direct them to a video, and that was helping them. And then it got to the point where I started talking about masculinity. Somebody would say, well, what about this? Should I do this with my beard or that with my beard? And I would say, well, I think it looks more masculine if you do this and you grow this part out. Don't shave that. Don't line this part up or whatever. You want to remain as masculine as possible, and you're going to be more attractive. I'd say, well, are you single or are you married? They say I'm single. And I'm like, are you looking for a woman? Yes, I'm open to meeting a woman. All right. For a single guy, this is what I would do. Women are attracted to masculine men. Don't try to be more like a woman. Don't soften yourself up in order to find a woman. Women like the polarity. Beards are the first example of polarity. Women are soft and pretty and cute. Men are rough and hairy, and beards are a man's natural state of existence. Being clean shaven in the light of history is actually the new thing. Being clean shaven actually is a trend. If you look at history, people call beards a trend. I'm like, no, I don't think so. I think shaving every day is the trend. If you look at thousands of years of men, most men had facial hair. So, and then I got into talking about masculinity in society. And this beard would look good with this, but don't wear skinny jeans. And then I would start getting into these areas of masculinity and femininity, and people started saying, well, I have a date this Friday. What should I wear? What should I do? And so it evolved in that way I was responding to needs that were presented to me. This had nothing to do with personality, had nothing to do with ego. And then it got to the point where I did as many men's grooming videos as I possibly could. I just can't keep regurgitating the same old stuff. I mean, I'll do a how to trim your beard video now, like this week if I do, and it'll still be like a top video because I call it like beard porn. People just they love watching dudes do beard talk. I don't know why, but it's, I found that to be true. But then as I started getting into masculinity and relationships, that obviously leads to the topics of divorce, separation, cheating, infidelity, all this kind of the stuff that men deal with. And that's pretty much where it exploded. That's where it, if I look at a graph, it was just kind of like just climbing just a little bit. And then when I started talking more about masculinity, boom, it just like that line went straight up, and it was an explosion. And I thought to myself, okay, this is interesting. And I got myself 100,000 followers,
Didn't see that coming. Yeah.
Got that right there. And I thought, wow, this is really interesting. And I started monetizing my content, and was making what I call quit your job money. I don't even have right now I'm on my phone, and even now I'm 5 years into this, and I've never used a camera or like any sophisticated editing. Everything is done on my phone.
Isn't that amazing?
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's 100%. Thank you, Samsung Galaxy. That's really what it is. And it's the larger cell phone. I think it's the largest cell phone that there is. It's pretty much fills up your back pocket. It's a big phone. And that was because I was mainly blind, and I don't know how people can pull out these little tiny phones and see anything. So for me, making a phone call, I like big giant numbers. I'm about that far from getting like a jitterbug phone. And doing like Cialis commercials or something. I don't know, but the channel grew and grew and grew, and then it started taking up my time. I started fielding questions through my emails and through messaging systems, and then I saw myself becoming a therapist again, and I left that world several years ago because I was burned out doing therapy with people, and I swore that I would never do it again. And so I kind of converted that therapy model to more of a coaching model, which is what I do now. And I'm coaching anywhere between 12 and 20 men at any given point right now, in addition to a couple other jobs that I do, and then all the various streams of income. So, it's worked out well, but something's going to give real soon. And I have to take it's one of those things. If you have a lot of energy, you can do one thing really, really well. But if you do 4 things, you're going to do 4 things half-ass. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
And I want to concentrate a little bit more on the video and the ministry and the coaching business. That's where my money is. That's where my interest is. And that's the one thing that I do that doesn't feel like work. I get up in the morning and I'm like, ugh, gotta go to work. And the only thing that doesn't feel like work to me is when I'm helping guys. That is it. And it's effortless to me, and it's a blessing. That's where I'm leaning towards right now. So I'm hoping by the end of the year to be just cutting hair, maybe 1 or 2 days a week somewhere, and doing this kind of thing full time.
Yeah, that's awesome. God bless you for doing that. And I know you're helping a ton of people. There's 2 things that jumped out there I want to expand on. The first thing is, how folks from Alabama and diehard, Crimson Tide fans, they end every sentence with "Roll Tide."
Yeah.
I think we should start a trend to end every sentence with "Don't wear skinny jeans." I'm just saying. I keyed on that. I think that's good advice for anybody, anytime. Don't wear skinny jeans.
Absolutely.
If you want to be masculine.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Right.
Those 2 cannot coexist.
Right.
Or if you're older than 20.
Right. The other thing is, as you mentioned the word ministry, and we had the good fortune of talking a little bit before this started, and kind of expanded upon that a little bit. So when you say ministry, what is your meaning of that?
Purely, literally, it's the Webster's dictionary of literally rolling up my sleeves and serving people. I like to say that I'm not a minister. I don't want to be a minister, but I want to do ministry. So I don't want to do the noun. I want to do the verb. And not unlike you guys, much of my work is imparting wisdom. When I tell a man he needs to get himself back and stop trying to get her back, that's from decades. That's from decades of life coming out of my mouth. That's from crying when I was a young man, beating my pillow, drinking myself to sleep, contemplating suicide. That stuff is real. This is not academic. This is not theory. This is what I teach is not pie in the sky stuff. So I am skilled at the art and science of triage, crisis counseling. When a guy is in acute crisis, and when I say acute crisis, his wife of 20 years says she doesn't want to be married anymore. What does he do other than punch a wall, kick the dog, scream, grab her, throw her on the couch, slam a door, and then get told by the police he's got to go somewhere else? And then when he comes back home, the locks on his own home are changed, and he gets served with, a restraining order and a legal separation notice. That's where the rubber hits the road. And a lot of good, clear men experience that and become very unclear. They become very cloudy in their judgment at that point. And they feel like the biggest temptation when you're going through crisis is there's two things. Number one, that you're the only one going through it. You feel very isolated. And number two, that it's never going to end. And it's like a storm going over your head. If you just react to every dark cloud over your head, you're going to be several layers removed away from the storm. A man goes through a breakup. He gets drunk to kill the pain. He gets in a car and drives home from the bar. He gets pulled over, gets a DUI. Well, now he's two problems removed away from the original problem. And men do this onion thing where they just put layers and layers and layers of problems, and then they become identified by their problems. I'm a drunk. Many men start thinking, well, maybe I need psychiatric meds. Maybe there's something wrong with me. Maybe I have a chemical imbalance. No, you're going through pain. And there's a lot of maladaptive behavior right now. So you need to stop. You need to think the storm is going to pass. It's going to be better. You are alive. You will survive. And I guarantee that. And a lot of people have been through what you've been through, and they made it. They need hope for that minute. I remember a professor in college always said, gather data, give hope. Gather data, give hope. And he always taught me, this one professor in my therapy training, his whole thing was about hope. He would say, when in doubt, gather data, and then gather data and give hope. And that was it. And I live by that, period. Because men aren't thinking about their 5-year plan, their 10-year plan when they go through this stuff.
Right.
They're thinking about a 10-minute plan. How am I going to make it through the night? How am I going to make it to the weekend? So I do a lot of work on like Friday and Saturday nights, because that's when people feel the most lonely, the most isolated. And that's when the pain hurts. It seems like the pain is always worse at night. So like right after dinner time, the guy starts drinking and starts killing the pain. That's where trouble can start in his life. And then, of course, what's the other thing a guy does when he's going through a divorce or a breakup? He ends up having a revolving door on his bedroom. And, spending time with women sexually is like drinking. It becomes a drug. It becomes like alcohol, that when the drug wears off, the pain is still there. And then you can just end up in this crazy repetitive cycle. And it's easier today to get laid. I see these guys that are like, I never had a girlfriend. What should I do? And I'm thinking like, it's never been easier to get laid ever. It is it's like women on tap with dating sites and such. It's never been easier. So a man goes down the moral and ethical sliding down that, and pain, if you don't deal with pain properly, you just end up layer after layer after layer removed from the original source of pain. And not unlike the movie Platoon, which we all know, in one of those beginning scenes when Forrest Whitaker is shot and he's screaming, and his commander comes over and covers his mouth and says, take the pain, because his screaming is going to give their location to the enemy. And he said, take the pain, take the pain. And Forrest Whitaker is just laying there after being shot, just screaming, and he just de-escalates. ah, 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 ah. Okay, now breathe. Like that. And what happens is when we're flailing in pain, the enemy identifies us and makes it worse. And if we literally, literally take the pain, experience it, guess what? You don't have to experience it tomorrow. If you drink it away tonight, it'll be back tomorrow. But if you take it now, you can function tomorrow. And the idea is not unlike AA would say, how they say one day at a time. With a man who's going through a divorce or a breakup, it's 1 hour at a time. And many of these men have spent their whole life saying, oh, I don't know what I would do without her. I love my girl. I love my wife. Man, if she ever left, my world would be gone. I would just die without her. Guess what? If you keep saying that you will die without her, when she's gone, you will die. The death process will start. And that's what you're experiencing because you trained yourself to die, not train yourself to live. It's like Steve Williams and I talked about the other night. A man's proper attitude with his woman should be, I love you. I am crazy about you. I really do love you, sweetie, but I love myself that much more. And that's what helps me have my pride.
Yeah.
Because, now check this out. I knew a guy whose wife threatened divorce all the time. That's it. We're done. We're going to get a divorce. And this was a cycle for years and years and years. And finally, he grew a set of balls. And he learned to love himself that much more. And when she pulled that, that's it. I'm getting a divorce. This marriage is over. And he's used to her doing this every time they had a conflict. And he replies, you know what? If you leave, I'll be okay. She stopped. That was the beginning of the restoration of their marriage. All of those cries for help, I want to get a divorce, was her silently begging him to man up and be the man, grow a set of balls. Don't make me be the man. Don't make me play the masculine role because a woman will resent you if you put her in that role. What do you want to do for dinner? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? I don't know. What do you want to do? Women hate that. What they want is, we're going to such and such a restaurant. This is the attire. I would like you to wear this. The reservation's at 7. We need to leave at 6:30. Instantly, she's on it because he's taken the role as a man. There's no quicker way to dry a woman up like the Sahara Desert than to tell her, I don't know, what do you want to do? When she says, what do you want to do? Where should we eat? What should we eat? Son of a gun, you better have an answer or make one up real quick. Because a woman will shit test you probably 5. I don't care. I don't care if it's the Virgin Mary. I don't care if it's Mother Teresa. A woman will shit test a man 5 to 10 times a day just to make sure he's a man. It's in her nature. She wants to be safe. She wants to be secure. She wants to make sure she's with a man. If he doesn't do that, you might as well go shoe shopping with her because you're nothing but her girlfriend if you don't assume the role of a man.
I love it.
Yeah. That's powerful stuff. And I know there's people out there that'll listen to this going, oh shit.
Yeah.
I need to make some changes.
Well, let me tell you why. And then I want to ask you another question, George. The reason they're saying, oh shit, is because to be a man in today's world it's constantly under attack. It is not, to be masculine, to be a man is just not a very popular thing to do in the public square. So the fact that you're choosing to minister to men, to serve men in this way is, you're stemming the tide a little bit. And how do you, well, first of all, what do you think about that? And how do you deal with it?
Well, I posted a picture on Gab yesterday and I showed what some of the modern male mannequins look like in department stores. And they actually have pot bellies and man boobs. They are
Wow.
They are the most pathetic looking men I've ever seen. And I said, is there a war on men or is life just imitating art? Because I believe that different cultures in centuries past portrayed men different. And I put a picture of that mannequin up next to a picture of a Greek statue, which the guy's jacked, looks great, like looks like a natural bodybuilder kind of thing. You look at like the statue of David or something like that, which is considered the golden ratio of male physique.
Portion, yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned that video that you did the other night, man. I enjoyed the heck out of that. I would encourage others to watch it. I made note of the title of that, and it's first things to do after a breakup, a guide for men. Yep. And man, it was cool listening to everything that you and Steve had to say, and I would encourage folks to listen to that, especially if you're dealing with that circumstance yourself. Powerful information in there to check out. Yeah,
and Steve is. He's the blackest white guy I know, and I'm the whitest black guy he knows. So I actually met him, I don't know, probably, I'm guessing 2 years ago. We hit it off right away. Steve keeps it real, as he likes to say. He keeps it real. So we hit it off really well.
Yeah, and I love what you guys were saying about the difference between the information that you share, being real world experience and not theory and not, from these so-called content creators. And I think that's powerful because people can relate to it because they can see themselves in that same circumstance, or they may actually be in that same circumstance right now. And they need to hear that wisdom that you are sharing because of the experiences that you've had. And,
well, did you see my interview with John Fitch, the UFC champion? He's a world champion. I forget, he only has just a couple defeats, but you get in the ring with no gloves on. You're just beating the crap out of each other and anything goes. I mean, he's won so many belts doing that. And I said, what's it like when you got a guy down, you got him in a leg lock and and you just like knocked him out? He says, he goes, the biggest thing there is you have to make sure you don't do it out of anger because you want to keep beating him. He goes, one punch might knock him out. The next punch might wake him up. He goes, and I want to keep him out. How would I ever know that? I mean, like, unless I was in the ring, like bare knuckle doing that, like anything goes kind of fighting. I didn't know that you could wake somebody up with a punch. I mean, if the goal is to knock him out. I had not heard that either.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought that's to kill him. Right. Yeah.
First one exactly. Right. You think once you knock the guy out, if you let your emotions get into it, you just keep pounding and pounding. And he learned that if the guy's out, you just back off. There's no need for tapping out. There's no need for the rope. A knockout is a knockout. I just didn't know that you could wake somebody up with the second punch. But that's real world experience. You're not going to learn that. You're going to learn that in a book. Right.
But have you experienced pushback on some of the stuff you're doing from anybody? On the fact that you're helping men be men and be masculine.
Yeah. You don't help men be masculine without helping women be feminine.
Right.
A lot of women get divorced. They cut their hair short. They put a purple streak in it. They get the nose pierced or some like weird stuff like that. Women, I have an amazing following of women who are wearing dresses, and they're like, "Thank you so much." I have women who say to me, "I never wore a dress before," and they feel feminine. And if you look at millennials, women in their early to late 20s, they're going to knitting classes, cooking classes. They're making their own clothes. It's making a comeback. Whereas the boomers and Generation X, those women wanted to break the glass ceiling, climb the corporate ladder, delay childbearing till they're 40, and have it all. And you can't have it all. And what's happening is there's a cry amongst women right now that one woman writes me and she says, "I love your channel." And I said, "Why?" She says, "Because you're showing me that there's real men that are still out there, and you're showing me how I need to amp up my femininity. You don't be like a man to get a man, and a man doesn't become more like a woman to get a woman." So my friend Jennifer Molesky would say something like, "Ladies, you go on a date with a man, you spend 3 hours in the restaurant telling him how much of a strong, independent woman you are, and then you wonder why he wants to go Dutch at the end of the date. And what's happening is, if a woman amps up her femininity, grows her hair out, wears dresses, becomes more ladylike, she will be treated more like a lady. This same woman said to me, I'm having such a hard time dating. And I said, why is that? She says, she goes, I want to find a man who doesn't cry, or I want to find a man who, no, I keep meeting men who cry more than I do. That's what she said. You know, they found their feminine side. Softness is not a masculine virtue. I did a podcast a couple years ago, and a guy said to me, when is it okay for a man to cry? I said, birth and death. in between, like when your kids are born and you see that, the tears just flow. It just, honestly, they just flow. When someone dies, let it rip. But in between that, forget it. Forget it. Delay that emotion. Get rid of it. I'm not saying be an ass about it, but the reality is, women cry. Women are emotional. Men have to be a rock. Women will resent you. I tell men all the time, be the rock. Don't make her the rock. She will resent you if she has to play a masculine role and man up in that marriage or that relationship, period. So that's the first thing that I work with men on, is literally just becoming men, period. What's the first thing you can do? You can work on your body. Does that mean you have to become a bodybuilder? No. But all the women I know that I've talked to, I did a video a couple years ago that's on my channel called Can Men and Women Be Friends? And I had a female friend, and I said to her, do you feel safe with me? She says, absolutely. Absolutely. She goes, I feel safe and secure. I said, good. I said, now you're out there dating. She says, yes. I said, do you ever meet men that you're not safe with? She says, almost every one, because they try to soften themselves up to appeal to me. Now, there's a difference between being masculine and being macho. Macho is just asshole. Right. That's all that is. Yeah. Masculine is literally a virtue. Being masculine is a virtue. Just like being honest is a virtue. You cheat your woman out of everything that she needs when you act less than masculine. Never put her in the role of having to make decisions and be the rock. Never. A woman would go to a restaurant that she doesn't like if she loves you. And that's, you don't need to be shit testing your woman and doing that to her. But the reality is this, is that when you make the plans and you are decisive, a woman is a decisiveness meter. She's a walking, talking, living, breathing decisiveness meter. They like men that are wishy-washy. That aren't wishy-washy and that are decisive. A woman, even in marriages, a man can fix his marriage by being more decisive.
Yep. Yeah. So here's a question that I've come across numerous times that I'll hear people say, and it's a comment, and this kind of goes in the same vein of something you've talked about here recently, and men and their self-deprecating conversations about themselves and so on.
Yeah.
I hear guys say something like this, and it drives me nuts. They'll say, like I love riding motorcycles, as you do, and I'll have a guy say, yeah, I can't get a motorcycle, my wife won't let me. And that just drives me through the roof.
At that point, I think it's okay to cry for that man. Whenever I hear a man say, my wife won't let me, all I keep thinking is, where does she hide your balls?
Exactly. Exactly.
This is what I tell men who have a wife that says, or that say, my wife won't let me do this or won't let me do that. And I pick that up usually within a first session or two when I hear when I hear men refer to their wife as, oh, my better half, or let me check with the boss, like that, like those kind of submissive male phrases. I give them homework and I say, you need to join a gym. Well, I already go to a gym. I said, okay, when do you go? I go after work a couple nights a week. I'm like, okay, This is what I want you to do. Get up at 4 o'clock in the morning, have your coffee, put on your gym clothes, and go to the gym. Most gyms are open pretty early. If you go to Planet Fitness, which is in every freaking city, they're open 24/7. Your wife's going to say, where are you going at 4:30 in the morning? Now, if you leave the house at 7:30 at night, she'll say, where are you going at 7:30 at night? But if you leave the house at 4:30 in the morning, where are you going at 4:30? I'm going to the gym. Ooh, the dry desert starts flowing again. The river starts flowing again. All of a sudden, a woman hates a man who sacrifices everything for her. Like, men think that we got to just lay our lives down, and that's, we expend ourselves for them. A woman likes a man who takes care of himself. So when you're leaving the house at 4:30 to be at the gym by 5, and you're taking care of yourself, and when you come back and she says, how was your workout? Fantastic. I feel good. You do it again the next day, or the next day, or the next day. You know what? She's starting to dig you.
Yeah. Yep.
It's going to be revived. It's going to come back. That's my first homework assignment. Take care of the body. Fake it till you make it. Okay. You might not really be believing it in your head, but just make your body go through the motions, and she will see that. And I teach men all the time about women. Believe what she does, not what she says. So if you were going to adopt that attitude in your intergender relationships, the best thing you can do is do it yourself. Stop talking about being fit and get fit. Don't, I got to fit in a workout. Honey, I'll be home because I'm going to the gym after work. Get up early in the morning and go to the gym, period. That right there will change your woman's opinion of you. That's right there. That's just going to stir her up. And going to bed early, not using sugar, minimizing carbs, increasing your protein. And then when you tell her, man, my pants are just falling off, those 38 waist jeans are without a belt, they're just dropping down to I got to go buy some 36s. And she's like, whoa, that working out really is working. Wait till you get down to 34, and what's going to happen is she's going to want you to caveman her, throw her over your shoulder and, take her in the bedroom. And I've worked with men who've been married, 5 years, and men who are married for 35 years. And this works 100% of the time.
Not only do you get the positive feedback from the men, but you're getting positive feedback from the women. You're helping relationships recover and improve over time. And as a result of all of that, you're just not paying attention to some of the noise out there that's barking at you for preaching a message that isn't consistent with much of which is out there in the public square saying, no, toxic masculinity and all this shit that's going on.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. I love that, actually.
Yeah.
It's counterculture.
I think we need more of it, because otherwise they're going to continue to gain ground. So we need to have the counter assault of pushing back and teaching other men how to be actual men and behave that way and not be ashamed of being that way, because that's the way we're supposed to be.
It's easy to be a rebel in 2021. Don't do drugs. Don't get drunk. Control your weight. Get married. Have children. Go to church. Read to your kids. That's being a rebel. That's being counterculture now.
It really
in 2021, if you think about it.
Right. Yeah.
And when you say it out loud, it just sounds freaking ridiculous.
It does, right?
That it's come to that.
I'm at the point now on social media where I say, good morning, right-wing extremists. How are you today?
So now we're starting to get a glimpse of how you got banned from Twitter.
Yes.
I love that. You're in great company.
18,000 followers gone with one tweet.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, just think about that. I mean,
that's a badge of honor, man.
Well, it shows you, to me, this is what that says. It says that people are so shallow that when they, when something like that happens, they can't take it, that they can't handle it. So they have to cancel you. I mean, it's just unbelievable. It really is.
And I don't even know what the comment was. And I can say, confidently, it couldn't have been so egregious to have that kind of a response.
Right. I basically said, if you want to change your child's gender, that's child abuse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Dude,
Absolutely.
we're on the same page there. I
Right.
just had that conversation with my wife.
Yeah.
She works in a public school, and this particular county got a lot of pressure because there was a 6-year-old whose parents thought, the 6-year-old claimed that he didn't identify as a male. He wanted to identify as a female, and his parents are supporting this and pushing the school system to allow him to use the female restroom and so on. And ultimately, the school system had the good sense to allow this young man to use the adult ladies' room. And that solved the problem. I don't think that accomplished what the parents were out, setting out to do. And at the same time, it took away their argument, right? So now he's got the ability to use the ladies' room, but he's not commingling with, females that were made that way by their creator.
Yeah. Honestly, a 6-year-old doesn't have the mental capacity to make that choice.
Right.
When I was 4, I wanted to be a fire truck. When I was 5, I wanted to be the abominable snowman on Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. When I was 6, I didn't, how like kids say, I want to be an astronaut, I want to be a doctor, I want, that kind of thing. Up until about 6 or 7, I wanted to be a fire truck. I wanted to be the Yeti. I want, because that's the mentality of a child that age.
Right.
I can't even friggin' imagine any of my kids telling me that they want to be the opposite gender. And when that crap, first of all, that's basically that's from parents where the man is really the woman in the family. Let's get real. The woman wears the pants in that family, and the man really is the wife. That man never set boundaries with his wife if he allows his children to do that. It's absolute child abuse, 100% child abuse. And those that support it have ulterior motives.
Right.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. So apparently you get banned from Twitter for speaking the truth.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, sure. Of course. Well, in medieval times, they pulled the tongues out of truth tellers. Now they just cancel them. Same thing.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to change subjects real quick. I think I heard you at one point in one of your videos, you said tonight that your father is a barber. And I want to say that I heard you say something to the effect of that he's going to die with a pair of scissors in his hand. Because, he enjoys it that much. This is a second career for him. And, he's going to keep doing it because that's what he loves. And what that reminded me of, and I would imagine you're familiar with this term, and I may pronounce it wrong, but it's a Japanese term called ikigai. Are you familiar with that?
It sounds familiar. Explain it to me.
So ultimately, it talks about the American culture is somewhat unique in the fact there's a book about it, but it talks about our culture is somewhat unique in the retirement-minded focus that we have, and that we've got this in our heads that we're going to work until a certain age and then we're going to retire and just do whatever. And unfortunately, a lot of people retire and just waste away and die. And the whole theory behind that ikigai is, you do something that you love so much, you can continue to do it right up until the day you drop dead, because it is something that is that integral to who you are as a person, and you enjoy it so much. And I thought that was cool when I heard you say that about your father.
Yeah, retirement is a relatively new concept, just like being clean shaven. People work their trade. I remember watching I don't know if it was 60 Minutes or one of those kind of programs where there was a 100-year-old architect, and they said to him, what's the secret to living to 100? His answer was, don't die.
That's profound.
And he went to work for a few hours every day. Obviously, you don't have the endurance, when you're older. But think about the intellectual capital of people with gray hair.
Yeah.
I never thought that the phrase baby boomer would be an insult until 25-year-olds would reply to, like real punk ass 25-year-olds would say to me, okay boomer. They like, that's their response. Like, and it would never occur to me to disrespect somebody who's older. As a matter of fact, when I was growing up, if you disrespected an elder, they'd smack the shit out of you and take you to your father, who then would smack the shit out of you again
Yep.
in front of the guy that you embarrassed.
Yep.
And the reality is, there's a lot of disrespect out there, but those are the guys that are killing themselves. Those are the guys that are cutting their dicks off and saying, I'm a woman. Those are the guys who they can't find a woman. Those are the guys that are bitching about women are horrible, women are bad. I'm like, no, you're just not a man.
Right.
You know, I do agree that the state of women is different now than it was 20 years ago. I joke around about the 1955 housewife. I post pictures like these watercolor pictures of women in aprons and pulling dinner out of the oven and, you know, this kind of thing, and baking a cake and cutting the birthday cake and lighting her husband's pipe and this kind of stuff. And of course, I just troll a lot of people by doing it.
That was my mother, by the way. That was my mother.
That's
right.
cool.
Exactly.
Right.
And that's my mother too.
Right.
So what's fascinating is when I talk about almost tongue in cheek about the 1955 housewife, that's when the women are coming out of the woodwork. The haters aren't coming out. It's the women who are like, I like cooking.
Right. I want some more of that.
Like
Bring us back.
Right.
And what's fascinating is I've been divorced for about 18 years now, and dated like a madman, and ran through women like a hot knife through butter, and either had something to prove or I was deadening the pain and all that. And it was ridiculous. It was really ridiculous. And you know, people say to me, because I remember when I was young and growing up, I remember at about 6 years old, I really wanted to become a priest. Literally, I had my first Holy Communion. I wanted to become a priest. I had that attitude until I was about 14, and I probably got my first boner wondering, what the hell is this? And or maybe 13 or something like that. And then I'm thinking like, maybe that priest thing ain't going to work out so much right now.
Right.
And then I turned 60 and I'm like, you know what? Maybe I could become a priest. So, so what's happening is we mishandle our sexuality right from the get-go. I never had the talk with my dad, but these women, I like to tell men, pursue excellence, and then excellence will pursue you. And sometimes that excellence comes in the shape of a woman. And what happens is when you pursue excellence, and I always tell men all the time, suck your stomach in, put your shoulders back, stick your chest out, your head up high, walk 25% faster than everyone else wherever you go. People will wonder, what are you doing? Where are you going? Like you're a man with a purpose. You're a man who has somewhere to go. And that automatically communicates the signal to people that you're important and that you value your time. So when you do that, when you pursue excellence, you automatically eliminate incompetence. When a man is excellent, incompetent women don't even come near you, because what happens is they think to themselves, he would never like me. And they're right.
Right.
Because a man who's excellent will attract a woman who is excellent. A man who is masculine is going to attract a woman who is feminine. At my age, I am attracting women half my age, not bragging, but I would never take advantage of it, because what do I have in common with a woman who's half my age?
Right.
I'm not interested in that. My daughter's 25, so I'm not interested in, you know, a 30-year-old woman. But they make themselves known to me all the time, along with a lot of really cool women all the time. Pursue excellence. Excellence will pursue you. I tell men, chase excellence, pursue excellence, not women. Stop chasing women. Stop it. You don't chase women, you attract them, period. If you land a woman from chasing her, she is literally just going to go to the next highest bidder. That's just the way things are. That's the way women are built. I'm not going to hold it against them. Fish swim, but I'm not going to accuse the fish of swimming, because that's what fish do. You know, it's the scorpion and the frog scenario.
Right.
There's certain things that women do, period. They're always testing our strength all the time, otherwise known as a shit test, all the time. If you attract a woman, because women are attracted to men who love themselves that much more. If you show a little bit of indifference, like my one buddy did, if you leave, I'll be okay. That right there is magnetic for most women. It puts a little dread in them. When you start, I know women that don't want their men to work out, because if he starts working out, then he'll start attracting other women.
Right.
I know a guy who actually said that, who told me that his wife was worried that he was going to become attractive to other women because he started working out.
Whew.
Man.
This is the same guy who sleeps in the guest bedroom.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Who when he says, I haven't had sex in 5 years, I'm the only guy in the world who has the balls to tell him that doesn't mean your wife hasn't had sex in 5 years.
Oh, there you
Yeah.
go. That's right.
Exactly. And
Yep.
that's cold, hard truth that sometimes men need to face.
Right.
Yep.
And then there's that deafening silence.
Yep.
That deafening silence.
Right.
Yeah. That comes with the realization that he's right, because that's truth.
Exactly.
That's absolute truth.
Exactly. It's like, don't hate me because I'm right,
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Wow.
This has been first of all, this has been extremely enjoyable to listen to you chat, and you're very good at what you do. That's for sure. But back to the theme of our podcast, some serious wisdom of the ages being
Oh my goodness.
being kicked around here.
I got to throw this marine math out that I was doing when we were talking that,
did you have enough toes fingers?
Yeah, I had enough. The conversation that we're having here tonight is made up of roughly over 170 years of life experience.
There you go.
These gray hairs don't come by accident, right? We've been around, we've traveled some miles, and the wrinkles and the gray hairs we've earned along the way. They're badges of honor and survival.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah. So, man, powerful stuff. I can't thank you enough, George. And I know we're just scratching the surface of things that you could share with folks. And if you would, I know you don't broadcast, when you're going to do live things and so on, but I know some of our listeners are going to want to hear how they can hear more from you or see more from you. So where's the best way to find you?
The best way to find me, there's a couple places. I'm on YouTube. Just look up my name, George Bruno. And there's something there for everybody, male or female, young or old. I am sure to offend some people. Other people will find my words to be a healing balm. Other people will view it as a kick in the pants that they need. They will learn to get unstuck by watching me over a long period of time. I like to describe myself as kind of like the IV drip of motivation. Like you might listen to one episode and go, he's okay. But I say, listen to me over a long period of time. I'm the IV drip. Boom, boom, boom. And you'll find yourself getting stronger, more rational. So YouTube is a great place. Gab is another place at gab.com. Just look me up, same thing, at George Bruno. And then also, if people go to georgebruno.com and sign up for my newsletter, I write much better than I talk. And I'm much more focused when I write. So when I put out a private newsletter, it's meant to literally equip you with what you need to live life. And I've never, ever had a bad review of my newsletter.
That's cool. I actually, I went on your website today and signed up for that newsletter. So I'm eager to see the information you put out there. That's good stuff.
Thank you.
Man, any parting thoughts, Kevin?
No. I will replay this conversation. Well, yeah, I guess there is. I will replay this conversation many times in my head healing balm. That's I can see that coming across. And as I said earlier, I'm a fairly new exposure to you, and I've had a chance to consume as much as you can within reason, within a few days. But
well, you just got the drinking from a fire hose treatment. So it all came out.
Yeah. It's great stuff, and I hope you felt like it was worth your time as well. I'm sure you
absolutely
you did.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. And one thing I want to call out, it's something you said the other night on the broadcast that you did with Steve, is when folks spend time watching either videos or listening to podcasts, people really need to evaluate how they feel when they're done watching or listening to one of these things, because it's intended to be uplifting and informative. And if if you're listening to stuff that causes you to feel the same or worse than when you started listening to it, maybe you should find some other stuff to listen to and watch.
Right. Yeah. I try to. I like to say that there's something for everybody, and I want everyone to extract a nugget out of every single broadcast that I do. Personally, like I don't watch a lot of other guys doing this stuff. I've been watching a lot of Orthodox priests recently for some weird reason. I'm really enjoying them. But I regularly watch homesteading YouTube channels. I watch camping and survivalist videos, and I love watching those things. And they just make me feel more equipped about life. What would I do if I was out in the woods, or, how would I live if I only had a knife and a tarp?
Right.
I love that kind of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, it gives me hope.
That's cool. There you go.
Well, hey, George, we didn't get a chance to, or take the time to talk about how we close this thing out each time, but we're going to need you to help us out with our signature sign off. And I know this will fit right in with your mindset, because we believe in enjoying the ride. And, that's what life's about. This journey we're on is a ride, and it's important that you take time to enjoy it. So I'm going to hit this little button here.
That's the phrase, enjoy the ride, when we get there.
Enjoy the ride. You ready?
I'm ready.
And Kevin has to remind me to hit this button sometimes, because
yeah.
I'll get to talking and completely forget about it. And
just follow his lead.
No matter who you are, where you are, or what you're doing between this podcast and the next, make sure you take time to enjoy the ride.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Graybeard Chronicles. Please subscribe so you'll receive notification when new episodes are available. To learn more about the Graybeards, visit their website, graybeardchronicles.com.